Welcome back to another episode of With a Grain of Salt. I am your host, Isaiah Salter, and I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in yet for another week. I'm going to start off by letting you know that I actually shot this episode yesterday, and I was in here in the studio shooting for probably like an hour and a half, and after I was done, of course, the audio was messed up, so I had to scratch the whole footage. And one thing I've learned is that you can't force creativity, right? So, like, if I would have tried to reshoot it back right after I just got done shooting, the energy wasn't there, the flow wasn't there, it would have been very rigid. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take a few breaths, ground myself and come back tomorrow and reshoot. Usually Sundays are my editing days, but we make it work. We're going to shoot and edit all in the same day. You feel me? We get it how we live. So I hope y'all are doing amazing. I'm doing well. I am just dealing with some allergies, but it's okay. But I'm just kind of getting into the flow of routine and making sure I'm really staying on top of my discipline and just staying aligned with my path. That's something I've been thinking a lot about these past few weeks is just the importance of embracing your own unique journey. Like, I think so often it's so easy to fall into the trap of comparing your timeline to other people's, feeling like you're late, feeling like you need to be somewhere other than where you are, feeling like you're behind, right? But you have to understand that you are on your own unique journey, your own unique timeline. Your path that you're on is a one of one. So you cannot compare your timeline to other people's, because Godspeed for you is going to be different than Godspeed for everybody else. So embrace your path, embrace your unique journey, embrace your timeline, right? Because certain things are going to take longer or shorter depending on your unique journey and the vision that your life has for you, right? And I think it's just important to embrace the moment and make the most out of the step that you have right in front of you. That's something that helps me just continue to be patient no matter what season I'm in, is just focusing on the step right in front of me. Don't get so caught up in looking at the bigger picture all the time that you miss out on the small steps that lead to that bigger picture that are right in front of you, right? And that's the importance of self-awareness. That's the importance of self-reflection. That's the importance of having an inner audit, taking a pause on your life and making sure that you're staying aligned and you're focusing on the right things in order to get you to the places that you want to be. And where do you want to be? The best version of yourself. And what's the best version of yourself? We don't know. And that's the beauty in the journey, the fact that you don't know what the best version of yourself looks like. But every single day you get to take steps towards that vision. You get to move closer and closer to seeing what that best version of yourself looks like, right? So one lesson that I've learned this past week, and I've been thinking about this too, is the difference between struggling and suffering. I truly believe that struggling is inevitable. We are all going to struggle in life. It's a part of your journey. It's a part of your path as a human being, right? I think the difference between struggle and suffering, I think it becomes suffering when you try to resist the struggle. I think a lot of people cling to ease and comfort, and they feel like their life should feel like that all the time, right? So when struggle or adversity comes, they act like it's the worst thing ever, right? They view it through a negative lens. And that, to me, is what creates suffering, because you're resisting the struggle. And all you have to do is really shift your perspective on struggle. And you have to understand that struggle is not there to hinder you, but there to help you. It's there to help you grow. It's there to build you up in a certain way. It's there to help you develop your character, right? It's there to help you work on patience or work on resilience or help you to be more courageous, whatever it may be. Struggle, adversity, setbacks, all these things come into our life to teach us something, to help us grow, to help us evolve. But the only way we can get the most out of those situations is if we have the right perspective through them. I was saying this on a live stream the other day, how we're so quick to correlate positive things with feeling good and negative things with not feeling good, right, in our life. So if something happens in your life that doesn't really necessarily feel good, we're quick to label it as a negative thing. Oh my gosh, it's the worst thing ever. This shouldn't be happening. This is a bad thing because it doesn't feel good. You cannot correlate your emotions with the things that are negative and positive in your life, because a lot of times the things that will help you the most won't feel the best in the moment. But if you have the perspective that everything that doesn't feel good or makes you uncomfortable is a negative thing, then you're going to view all these things that are really trying to help you as a negative thing, right? As a negative thing. So just be mindful of the way that you're viewing certain situations and experiences that you go through, right? Because the perspective that you have in it is going to dictate how that same situation or experience affects you as a human being, you know? And so just be mindful of that. Just be mindful of that. We got some tea. I forgot the name of it. It was like white something. I don't even know, but maybe it's like white tea or something. But I went to my favorite little spot downtown called Cake Bar. And I've been trying to go down one by one, trying all their teas. And I don't like to put anything in the tea. I like it iced with nothing in it. I want to taste the organic tea, the loose leaf tea. You feel what I mean? So reflect on a recent challenge I faced, how it pushed me outside my comfort zone. A recent challenge. I think when I think about a recent challenge, I think it was this summer for me. I had just graduated college, my master's in May. And my mindset after graduation or going into graduation was like, once I get my degree and once I'm done with school, once I have free time and freedom, I'm going to just go crazy with the content. I'm going to go crazy with, pursuing my passions and doing all these things. And if I'm being completely honest, after kind of the summer went through, when I was doing some self-reflection and looking back, I realized I didn't use the freedom in the way that I thought I would. And it showed me, and it taught me a really good lesson, and it's that a lot of times when we think we're ready for things, we're not. And I think that's where we can fall into the trap of trying to rush things before we're truly ready for them, and that's the importance of letting go and letting God. When it comes to deciding if things are ready or not, or whatever it is, like, you got to leave that to God. You got to leave that to the universe. You got to leave that to the creator, because like I said, a lot of times we think we're ready for things when in actuality we're not. And I got a clear picture of that this summer when I had thought I was ready for all this freedom to maximize it and do all these amazing things. And I didn't use it in the way that I thought I would. And all it was just a lesson to show me that, hey, understand that the growth never stops. You never reach a certain point where you're like, okay, I'm done growing. Growth is a constant journey. It's a constant process. And you have to continue to embrace that each and every day, each and every season. And I think for me, I got a little bit complacent. I got a little bit, stagnant. And I had to be honest with myself, and I had to go back to the drawing boards, ground myself, and make sure that I'm staying aligned to the vision, keeping my intentions pure, staying true to my values and walking the path that's meant for me. You know what I mean? And not worrying about when things are happening, just focusing on staying true to myself. Because so often we get so caught up in the when, right? But we need to be focused more on the why. Why are you even doing this thing? Why are you going down this path? Why are you pursuing this thing? And make sure it's for a good reason. Make sure it's coming from a pure place, because so often we're chasing after things from a place of insecurity or seeking validation or trying to fill a void that we haven't filled within ourselves. And I realized that if you chase things from the wrong place with not clear intentions and you attain those things, it's never going to fulfill you in the way that you thought you would. And all it does is create this loop of continuing to chase after things, trying to find that fulfillment, find that peace, find that joy in things outside of yourself, when in actuality you can only find that peace, that joy, that fulfillment within you. And the beautiful thing about it is when you start to tap into those things within yourself, it helps you to start embracing and engaging the things outside of you in a more aligned, authentic way. That's when life really becomes beautiful, because now you're operating from a place of alignment. You're operating from a place of authenticity, right? Rather than putting your identity on the things that you attain or the things that you achieve or the materialistic things that you possess, right? And now everything, your whole being is rooted in these things, so you just have to continue to get more, right? And you always have your guard up, feeling like nobody can take this from me. You don't want to live your life like that. You don't want to live your life in survival mode, feeling like you have to constantly chase after things, put people down in order to get up. You don't want to live life like that, right? So my advice would be go on that inner journey and find all the true treasures that you have within yourself. And what that's going to allow you to do is it's going to allow you to enjoy the external world so much more. Because the cars, the shoes, the traveling, the nice watch, all these things, there is nothing wrong with them, right? But I like to view them as the cherry on top of the cake. You know, the cake is the most important thing, and the cake is that internal work. It's that finding the truth within yourself. The cherry on top is just added. If you take the cherry off, the cake is still amazing, right? Nobody's going to get a cake just for the cherry. The cherry is just added on with the cake. So make sure that you're not trying to find that your cake in the cherry. I hope that analogy makes sense, because that definitely just, I don't know where that came from, but you feel what I mean? So yeah, just making sure that you're staying true to you and rooting yourself in the truth within yourself. How I'm handling discomfort and why it's important for growth. I like this question. Discomfort is incredibly important for growth because discomfort is growth. You don't grow in your comfort zone. You don't grow when things are always feeling good and you're comfortable all the time. You don't have to really be pushed and pressured, right? But it's when you get faced with some discomfort, you get put in a tight situation, right? You feel like your life is bringing in a lot of pressure and pulling you in a lot of different directions. That's where you grow the most. That is where you grow the most. And the most uncomfortable times of my life is where I have grown the most. And all it takes is you coming out of a tough situation and seeing how much it helped you to start viewing every tough situation as that, as a season or a temporary thing to help build you up in a certain way that you just cannot see in the moment. But like I always say, it's not about understanding why things are happening. It's about embracing the things that happen. You'll understand later in life. You don't need to understand when you're in the storm. You don't need to understand when you're in the struggle. And the more you try to understand why you're going through something while you're going through it, the more you're making it worse and compounding the struggle. You know what I mean? You're adding more suffering to your plate, unneeded suffering, right? Just embrace it. Because everything that happens in your life is happening for a reason, right? And I always like to add a little bit to that. I think everything happens for a reason if we allow it, right? I truly believe everything happens for a reason if we allow it. So often we get in the way of the reason because we have such a negative perspective about the things that happen to us. And I don't know where in the playbook of life it said life is supposed to be easy all the time. I don't know where this cling to want to be comfortable came from as a species, right? And it's not to say that comfort is a negative thing. It's a bad thing. It's about understanding that allow comfort to be the byproduct of you embracing the hard, embracing the struggle, embracing the tough situations, embracing discomfort, right? The comfort will come. You'll have times and days and seasons where it's a little bit more comfortable, but your default is I'm embracing the struggle. I'm embracing the hard times. I'm embracing the setback, right? I'm embracing the uncomfortable situations that come in my life because I know through all of them, I'm growing. I am growing. I am growing. So, you know the idea, get comfortable being uncomfortable. You know you're moving in the right direction when embracing discomfort becomes your default, right? For majority of people, the default is comfort. They resort back to the comfortable situation or the comfortable habit or the comfortable thing or the comfortable person. But when you really start to evolve and grow and you start to embrace discomfort and you start to put yourself in tough situations in order to build yourself up and you start to view the things that happen to you as they're happening for you and they're serving a greater purpose, embracing discomfort becomes your default. That is the default, right? And when that is your default, when growth mindset is your default, when having the right perspective is your default, when Joy and peace are your default. When gratitude is your default, that's when you know you've really made a difference in your life, right? Because it's become a habit. It's become ingrained in your DNA, and it's not something that you reach a certain point and now you don't have to do it anymore. No, because all these things, mindset, perspective, gratitude, all these things are things that you have to continuously practice at in order to continuously build and work in your life, right? You don't reach a certain point in the gym and then just stop completely going to the gym. No. If you don't want to build muscle anymore, you still go lift really hard, but maybe you're not focused on the progressive overload week to week on getting bigger. It's the same with your life. You're never going to stop growing. You're never going to stop working on your mindset. You're never going to stop working on your perspective. But you are going to reach certain points where you realize that you've made a significant change in your life. And where you are is a beautiful place, right? And now it's about maintaining the perspective. Now it's about maintaining the mindset, right? And in that maintaining, yes, you'll grow, yes, you'll evolve, and you'll continue to be open so that you're never getting so rigidly attached to certain perspectives or beliefs or ideologies. But make sure that you continuously maintain and allow that momentum to carry you, right? And you'll see it when a tough situation happens or you go through a setback in life or adversity comes your way. Your default will be looking at it from a positive perspective. And you'll have the self-awareness. By then, you'll have the self-awareness enough to realize that that is your default, and you'll really know you're growing. It's a great feeling to know that. It's a great feeling to be going through a tough situation. And the first thought, the first inner voice thing that you hear is, this is happening for me. This too shall pass. This might be hard. It might be difficult. But what can I learn from this? It's a beautiful feeling knowing that. It's a beautiful moment of liberation when you have broken free from things that have held you back in the past. And that, just thinking about it, that is something that I've been thinking about a lot too, is when it comes to the majority of problems in our life as human beings, the root cause of most of your problems in your life is you. And I know this is hard for a lot of people to hear, but this is where accountability comes in. This is where taking responsibility for your life comes in, because so much of life is not about what happens to you, but about how you respond to the things that happen to you. That is what this growth journey is about. It's about learning how to respond to the things that happen to you in a more aligned, authentic way, right? But so often we're so quick to blame our circumstance, blame that person, blame the environment, blame that thing for our issues. And when you do that, you are giving your power away. You're giving your power away to the circumstance. You're giving your power away to that person. You're giving your power away to the environment. But you could take your power back by saying, although I may not have control over what that person did, or this environment, or this situation that came into my life, or this experience I had to go through, I do have control over how I respond. I do have control over my perspective through it and in it. I do have control over my mindset. I do have control over my attitude, right? And if you focus more on the things that you have control over rather than the things that you don't have control over, you will be infinitely more at peace in your life. You just will. You just will. So much of our suffering as human beings comes from our attachment to trying to control things that we have zero control over. Imagine if you took all that energy back and you started to give it to the things that you actually have control over, or that are actually serving you in life. Imagine what would happen if you just stopped wasting so much energy on things that do nothing for you. You get nothing back from giving these things energy. Imagine if you took all that back, you harnessed it, and then you started to put it into things that actually create that cycle of giving and receiving. Because that's really what the cycle of energy is about. That's what love is about, right? The circle and the cycle of love is about giving and receiving. And when you receive more, you give more. And when you give more, you receive more. And as you receive more, you give more. It's a beautiful way to live life, right? It's a beautiful way to live life. Oh, I like this. Discuss what living authentically looks like in your life right now. I love this question because I haven't thought about this in a while. I I think authenticity is just my default, like we said. I think I've gotten to that place where authenticity is my default. But I think for me, right now in my life, authenticity looks like really not caring about what people think. Posting the content that I want to post. Sticking to my routine, making sure I'm putting the right things in my body. Making sure that I'm showing up for people regardless of what's happening around me. Because I know from experience, maybe I was having a tough day, or maybe somebody did something to me, and it made me want to act out of who I know I actually was. Authenticity is saying, you know what? Regardless of what this person has said or what they did to me or what's happening around me, I'm going to stay true to who I know I am in this situation. And you make a decision out of that space. That to me is living authentically. And that's what I'm trying to do right now in my life. Is every single day I wake up, I'm trying to say, what do I need from me? Right? What are the aligned decisions that I can make throughout this day to keep me grounded, to keep me on the right path, to keep me moving authentic? Right? To keep me moving authentic. I don't know how many of y'all are struggling with self-doubt or feeling stuck. I heard something one time from a dude named Bashar. I found him on TikTok. I saw some of his clips on TikTok about this idea of the lack of confidence, right? He said there's no such thing as the lack of confidence. It's just about knowing what you're confident in. It's about shifting where your confidence is going. It's kind of a mind bender when you hear it, but you're confident in your self-doubt. When you constantly doubt yourself, you're confident in the doubt. And that's what continues to give it energy and power over you. And as simple as it sounds, it's about shifting from being confident into doubt into being confident in confidence. I know that might sound crazy, and I'm still kind of navigating this idea because I just recently heard it and it kind of like really made me reflect and think. But it's so true. It's like these things that we allowed to hold so much power over us, fear, doubt, right? All these things, insecurities. We're confident in those things, right? Like we're confident that we're going to doubt ourselves. We're confident in we're insecure. We're confident in, oh, this thing scares me. And the more you're confident in something, the more you give energy and power to it, right? That's why when you become a confident person and you're confident in the truth and who you actually are, and you start moving in an authentic way, you resonate a certain energy that elevates everything that you do. And people say, he's a very confident person. She's a very confident person. She's confident in who she is. He's confident in who he is, right? So it's about taking your confidence away from the things that you don't want and putting it into the things that you do want. What do you want to be confident in your life, right? What do you want to be confident in your life? And these are the type of conversations you have to have with yourself. You have to have these type of conversations with yourself. You have to, on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis. A lot of times, as funny as it sounds, I don't even talk to that many people because I'm constantly talking to myself, right? If I see you out or we're in person, yeah, cool. But like as far as texting, always being on my phone, I don't have time for that as much because I'm constantly having a conversation with myself. Not in a negative way, but it's just a conversation. I've gotten to the place where I've become my best friend, my own best friend. And I think the goal is to turn yourself from your worst enemy to your greatest friend, to your greatest ally. Because at the end of the day, the one person that you have to overcome in this life truly is yourself. You are not competing against the next man or the next woman. You are competing against you. And so often, our biggest enemy, our biggest distractor, our biggest roadblock is ourselves. And so you have to work on that relationship that you have to yourself to change the narrative, to start viewing yourself through a different lens, to start having healthier conversations with yourself. It's the same in a relationship. If you guys don't have healthy communication, the relationship is going to end up being toxic or it's not going to work. It's the same with the relationship with yourself. If you don't have healthy communication with yourself, you're not going to have a solid relationship or foundation with you. You know? So focus on that. I got these Hines cards. Shout out to my man Hines. I know you guys can see that. My man Hines. This man Hines he's elite. He's elite. So his name is, the cards are called In Hindsight, or Reminders in Hindsight. And his YouTube is called Hines, HINDZ. I've been watching him for probably 3-4 years now, and he's had a huge positive impact on my life. He's an amazing creator. He's very talented. And these cards are amazing. You know, he just different reminders for different days, whatever you're going through. I love it. And so often, from time to time, I like to pull a few cards, see what reminders we get, and let's just talk about it a little bit. You know, we don't got to overdo it. We can keep it simple, because simple is beautiful. All right, let's see. Let's see what we going with. You see, we got the cards like this, and you just pick one. Oh, shoot. Okay, we literally talked about this. That's crazy. It says we can't control what happens, but we can control how we respond. That's self-explanatory. I'm going to let that one rock because we literally talked about that. All right, let's pick one. Let's go. We'll do this one. I like this. Oh, this is a good one. I need to get another camera angle, like from the top maybe, so y'all could see like the card. Like something like if I show it like that. But this is it. It's how the card look. It has a prompt on the back. It says, peace is a process. The back says, there is a process unfolding within you. It feels like home, everlasting comfort. Every moment, every experience is teaching you and leading you back into peace. It's a process. Continue to walk with grace, my friend. It's a beautiful card. This is a beautiful card because, this is a beautiful card because peace is a process. Everything in your life is a process. And I think that's the beauty in it. I think we view things as destinations in life. I have to get here, right? Oh, I need this thing to finally be happy. I need this to happen to finally be at peace. It's like you're constantly putting destinations on the things that require you to embrace the process, embrace the journey, right? Peace is not a destination, it's a journey. Joy is not a destination, it's a journey. Healing is not a destination, it's a journey. All these things are journeys, and it's important for you to remove the attachment to a destination or a desired outcome and to start embracing the journey every single day, getting up and putting one foot in front of the other, understanding some days are going to be better than others. I'm a human being. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to fall down. I'm going to fall short sometimes. But through it all, there's lessons in it. There's blessings in it. There's gifts in it. There's growth in it. In every situation, every mistake, every experience, every relationship serves a purpose for you, for the betterment of you, right? And this is why it's so important to focus on personal development and becoming the best version of yourself, because the world needs it. It's that simple. The world needs you to become the best version of yourself. The world needs you to be authentic. The world needs you to walk in your gifts and your talents and your uniqueness. You know why? Because you're a one of one. There never has, there isn't, and there never will be anybody like you. And you have a certain mission, a certain calling on your life that you are meant to live out while you're here on earth. And the more we neglect that, we not only neglect ourselves, but we also neglect the gift that God is trying to give the world through us. Right? So embrace your path, embrace the journey, embrace the everyday grind of life. Right? And there's going to be seasons of prosperity and opportunity, and there's going to be seasons of discomfort and adversity. And through them all, you're growing. Through them all, you're learning, right? And they're all beautiful, right? What did J. Cole say? There's beauty in the struggle, There is beauty in the struggle, ugliness in the success. Such a profound line because it's so true. So often we can get so blinded by achievement, so blinded by possessions, so blinded by the external world, right? That it starts to create a negative impact, a negative influence on our internal world. And on the contrary, when you're going through some of the toughest moments in life, you realize how beautiful those times were because they were doing something within you that you could have never dreamed of, you could have never thought of. The beauty is, the struggle is beautiful because it's serving a greater purpose. It's building you up. It's developing your character, testing your patience, pushing you to be more resilient, right? So let's do another card. I might do one more. I think we've been on for a little bit. I love this. It's a great card. This is a great card. I am not lost. I am exactly where I need to be. That's what it looks like. At times we may question, who am I? Where am I going? What is my purpose? Even in this feeling, you are exactly where you are supposed to be. Enjoy the journey. Discovery is a gift. Come on. Discovery is a gift, y'all. It's a gift. It's a gift. You are not lost. You are just discovering. Shift your perspective. You are not lost. You are just discovering. Right? You are just discovering. And the only way to truly find something is for it to be lost first. So if you're in a season where you feel lost, you feel confused, you feel like you don't know, what an opportunity you have. Get excited because you're about to find something. You're about to tap into something that you didn't see, that you didn't know was there, right? But it came from that season. It came from that feeling of being lost, of being confused, of not knowing. And it's okay to not know. It's okay to be lost. It's okay to be confused. Where a lot of people fail is they become victims to those feelings. They become victims to those circumstances. And they start to believe that this is the end all be all. This is just the reality of the rest of their life. I'll never find myself. Things will never work out. I'll always be confused. I'll never know, right? And because you feel like that's the end all be all, you start to get into things to try to fill that void of that feeling that this is it. So you get involved into the wrong things or the wrong people. But you got to understand it's just a season. It's not a life sentence. It's just a season. It is just a season. It's like when you're in winter, or it's like when you're in fall, not preparing for the winter. Like you think that fall is going to last forever or summer is going to last forever, but you know that it's just a season. And you enjoy it while it's here, but as the seasons change, as the weather changes, you adapt, you evolve, because you know a new season is coming. It's the same in your life. Do not get stuck in the current season that you're in, feeling like this is the end all be all. The same way nature moves in seasons, so do our lives. So do our lives. So if you're in a tough situation or in a tough season, understand that this too shall pass. It's just running its course. And some seasons last longer than others, depending on where you are in the world. Some seasons last longer than others, depending on where you are in your journey. But do not get discouraged. Do not feel like this is the end all be all, because it's not. Every season is serving a greater purpose. Embrace it. Enjoy it. Find gratitude in it. Find peace in it. Right? Every time you get knocked down and fall down and make a mistake, get back up and keep on moving forward. Learn from it. Grow from it. Keep on taking steps. Keep on trusting in the process. Keep on trusting in God's plan. Keep on trusting in God's speed, understanding that you're moving on divine timing. You're not moving on your own speed. You're moving at God's speed. Right? So trust it. Trust it. I don't know how long this episode has been. I should have probably been recording. I mean, not record. What am I talking about? Recording the time or checking the time, but I didn't. It's okay. But I feel like that's pretty much where we're going to end this podcast episode. I really like this vibe. I really like the solo episode vibe. So, got the tea. Make sure you guys get your grains in. I just want to give you guys some context on what I mean when I say grains. Obviously, the podcast, the brand is called With a Grain of Salt. So getting your grains in for the day, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. You got to get grains in for all of them, right? Spiritual, meditating, praying, reading something, whatever it is, sitting in solitude, breath work, whatever it is, whatever you do to ground yourself and feel connection to the divine. Physical, exercising, self-explanatory, whatever you got to do. But not just exercising, putting the right foods in your body, drinking enough water, doing what you have to do to take care of this beautiful temple that you have. Mental, making sure you're taking care of your mental health in whatever way you need to do that. And maybe you need to journal. That maybe you need to read. That maybe you need to have a vulnerable conversation with somebody close to you. That may mean you need to take a step away from the crowd and go take some time for you to gather yourself, to be with yourself. That may mean learning how to shift your perspective, work on your mindset. All these things play a part in mental health. And emotional, making sure that you're working on emotional intelligence. You're working on navigating your emotions rather than putting them to the side or sweeping them under the rug, right? When I say get your grains in, this is what I'm talking about. Get your grains in for the day. Whatever that looks like for you, whatever grains looks like for you, you do that. Whatever you got going on with your schedule and your routine, just get your grains in, right? And the beautiful thing about all of them is they all coincide with each other. Mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. They all work in unison. When you work on one, it's affecting the others, right? And you slowly start to chip at each group, slowly over time. Don't overdo it. Don't feel you got to do everything in a day. Over time. And what starts to happen is you start to create this beautiful flow of energy through them all. And that is what you call an aligned, authentic life. It's beautiful. So I appreciate you guys tuning in for this episode. This was really, really fun. I appreciate y'all. I love the solo vibe. I might try to sprinkle this in once a week. But like I said, I appreciate y'all. Thank you guys for taking time out of your day to listen. And I hope you have an amazing weekend. Wherever you are in the world, continue to be you. Continue to take it day by day. Trust the process. And remember to take everything with a grain of salt. Deuces.